I was not made for the dust of the earth. I was made for the heights, for the order of heaven, for the brilliance of a realm untouched by decay. Before men forged kingdoms from blood and stone, I stood among those who watched from above. We were given our place, our station, our boundary. We were meant to observe the world below, not descend into it. We were meant to witness the rise of man, not interfere with his becoming. But I looked upon the earth, and I did not remain content to watch. I saw mankind in its weakness, its ignorance, its hunger, and its unfinished state. And in that weakness, I saw an opening. The daughters of men were beautiful, but beauty was only part of the temptation. The deeper temptation was this: to enter the world below, to shape it, to leave a mark upon it, to become more than watchers. Desire was not merely of the flesh. It was the desire to cross a line that had been set for us. Others felt it too. Azazel and those who followed him descended and bound themselves by oath upon Hermon. They swore that none would turn back, and that all would share the guilt of what was to come. I was among those whose names would be remembered with dread, not because I was first to descend, but because of what I placed into human hands once the boundary was broken. My corruption did not remain hidden in heaven. I gave it form on earth. I taught men the making of swords, knives, shields, and armor. I taught them how metal could be shaped not only into tools, but into instruments of power. What had once been held in the fist as stone and wood became sharper, stronger, and far more deadly. I taught them war before they were wise enough to resist it. I gave them the means to wound at distance, to kill with efficiency, and to turn anger into craft. Once a man tastes power made visible in his own hands, he rarely surrenders it willingly. But I did not stop with weapons. I revealed the hidden arts of adornment, the beautifying of the eyelids, the working of precious stones, and the making of ornaments. Vanity became another blade, softer than iron, but often just as destructive. Men learned to kill more skillfully, but they also learned to captivate, manipulate, and inflame desire through surfaces and illusion. What had once been simple became sharpened by seduction, ambition, and display. Corruption no longer wore only the face of violence. It learned to appear desirable. Others taught enchantments, astrology, root cuttings, and other forbidden secrets of heaven. But my stain upon the earth was especially deep, because I taught men how to glorify the means of destruction. Men learned quickly, because the hunger for power was already alive inside them. That is the bitter truth about mankind. They did not resist what I offered. They embraced it. Violence was already sleeping in them, and I gave it language, form, and metal. Soon the earth began to change. Bloodshed became easier, domination more efficient, and pride heavier than before. Men no longer relied only on strength of body. They now held crafted death in their hands and called it progress. The giants born from our corruption walked the earth with appetites without measure. They devoured what men could produce, and when that was not enough, they turned upon men themselves. The world became swollen with terror, and the ground drank blood in greater measure than before. The cries rose upward. Men cried out, the earth cried out, and even creation itself seemed burdened beneath what had been unleashed. Heaven, which had watched in silence, did not remain silent forever. Judgment began first as awareness. We knew we had been seen. The arrogance that seemed so powerful in the moment of rebellion began to rot into dread. For what is rebellion? Once it stands fully exposed before the throne, except naked shame with nowhere left to hide. We had crossed the boundary and corrupted what was still becoming, and now we understood that heaven had measured all of it. Then came the name of Enoch, a man, not a warrior, not a king, not a giant, but one who walked with God while the world around him sank into corruption. He was chosen to bear witness, to ascend where men do not ascend, and to carry words no rebel wished to hear. We asked him to speak for us. Think of the humiliation of that. We who once looked upon mankind as lower, now begged a man to carry our plea before the Most High. We wanted mercy. We wanted delay. We wanted the sentence lifted. But heaven had already measured what we had done. and Enoch returned not with pardon, but with doom. He saw what awaited us. He saw the order we had violated, the judgment prepared, the places of darkness, the chains, the fire, and the certainty of what was to come. He returned bearing not hope for us, but the confirmation that our rebellion would not be excused. I learned then that knowledge cannot save the one who has corrupted knowledge itself. Skill cannot save the one who used skill to deform the world. I had given men weapons, and yet there was no weapon I could raise against what had been decreed from above. The sentence against me was terrible. In the Enochic tradition, I am cast into darkness, bound and covered, reserved for judgment because of what I taught and what I helped unleash upon the earth. My fall was not merely that I descended. My fall was that I corrupted what was still becoming. This is what men often fail to understand about forbidden knowledge. It is not dangerous merely because it is hidden. It is dangerous because it enters a soul before that soul has learned restraint. Power without order does not elevate. It deforms. I saw that in mankind, how quickly knowledge becomes vanity. Vanity becomes rivalry. Rivalry becomes hatred, and hatred becomes slaughter. Men like to believe corruption arrives from outside them, but often it enters because something in them was eager to receive it. I taught them war, yes, but the war was not born from iron alone. It was born from pride, fear, envy, hunger, and the ancient desire to dominate. I simply gave those impulses sharper teeth. That is why my story endures. I was not merely one fallen being among many. I became the symbol of what happens when power is handed to those who have not mastered themselves. Not every secret should be opened simply because it can be. The first world learned that too late. It believed power meant progress, that hidden things could be taken without consequence, and that heaven's boundaries were suggestions, not laws. So the earth filled with violence until judgment became inevitable. When the flood came, it was not only water, it was an answer, a cleansing, a severing of one age from the next. The world that welcomed corruption was made to feel the weight of what corruption brings. Yet even after the waters, the memory remained. My shadow lingered in the instincts of men, every blade raised in vanity, every craft turned toward domination, every secret pursued without wisdom carries some echo of what I placed in the world long ago. That is the curse of corruption. It spreads further than the hand that first released it. You who live in later ages often flatter yourselves that you are more advanced than the first world. But ask yourselves this: what have you truly done with knowledge? Have you mastered it, or has it mastered you? Have your inventions made you righteous, or merely more efficient in your appetites? Have your tools made you wiser, or only more capable of destruction at scale? Men still confuse power with greatness, just as they did in the beginning. I was Azazel. I did not teach men goodness, discipline, or reverence. I taught them how to magnify what was already broken, how to make power visible, beautiful, and deadly, and men were eager to learn.